Thank you for coming. This is call 3 of 4. This is a fun one today. We got a couple recent letter winners on here. Both guys got drafted in the last 2 years, and obviously you'll be able to hear from Coach Bishel as well. So with that, thank you. We appreciate it. My name is Garrett Broom. I'm a Senior Associate Athletic Director. I've been here for a wonderful 3 months. Again, kind of a weird time to start a new job. But with that, I'll kick it over to our amazing baseball coach, Jordan Bishel.
Well, you're a good liar, I guess. It's a good start using those kind of prefixes. But no, thanks for everybody getting on today. In terms of updates in the last 2 weeks, life's still a little different for us. The NCAA extended what they call their dead period, where we cannot get out and do any recruiting at all in person through at least the end of August, which based on that would probably indicate we could be stretching well into the fall. If they're not willing to lift it in August, odds are as we get towards flu season and those kind of things. So it's a really weird time in that kids can't visit here and we can't go watch them play. And so working with assistant coaches today on just rounding up videos of games and trying to do everything virtually. It's an interesting deal and kind of a tough deal for 2021 grads. I know we got Jake Sable on the line here, head coach over at Northwood. I know he's dealing with a lot of the same things, but it's a challenging time. But thought it was a good chance today to get a couple of our former players from more recent years online that are now in pro ball. We've got Zach Cohn and we've got Xavier Warren. So Zach was a 21st round draft pick. Zach, is that right? You got to unmute yourself.
Right on money, baby.
Right on the money for us last year and is in the Yankees system now. And then we've got Xavier Warren, who I think guys have seen got picked up in the 3rd round by the Brewers this year. Really wanted to give these guys a chance to just talk a little bit about both their experience here and kind of their experience since they've moved on. I'll start with you, Zach, because I know you'll liven it up, and then we'll use Xavier to put guys back to sleep. But Zach, talk a little bit about kind of how you ended up at CMU, and you played a big part of our team last year on and off the field. Why don't you, in your words, describe what your role for last year's team was for us?
Oh man, Coach, I really appreciate those words. Man, it's really good to hear that from you. But yeah, I mean, I chose to go to CMU, basically, honestly, because of the pitching coach I had at the time. And so I went to I'm from South Detroit, downriver kid, and I never was very highly recruited and anything like that. So I was actually just at a travel ball tournament, and I was throwing high 80s when I was about 16. And then Coach, Jeff Opalewski, you guys are probably familiar with him. He saw me, and I just started building a relationship with him right away. And then he brought me up to Central, and I met Coach Kylitz there. And I met everyone up there, and right away, I met my best friend, Zach Hickey, because his brother was actually playing there at the time. So I met him, and he ended up being my future roommate. But, I went up just, to Central, most of you guys, and I just loved it, loved the family environment. And, obviously the baseball tradition, it was, the best. I thought it was the best school in Michigan, screw Michigan, Michigan State, and I, whoops, sorry about that. Whoops. But yeah, I just like that underground or underdog mentality. So I ended up choosing Central, and yeah, I loved every bit of it. And then last year, we got a new coach for my junior year, and it was my draft year, so I had that on my head a little bit going into the year. I'm not gonna lie. And with the new coach, I really didn't know how that was gonna be and anything like that. And then, so it was kind of even, coach will tell you, it was rough in the beginning. There was growing pains up the ass, top to bottom with, players, individuals, and then players and coaches. So then once, we actually found out who each other are and that we all care about each other, then it was great. And, I was just basically obviously the clubhouse leader. We did all the dugout stuff, and coach let me have fun with that. And sometimes I did take it too far, and he probably got in trouble because of that, but we won a lot of games because of that also, I think. So it paid off for us. And, my job at the end of the season was to go out and shove and, win us some games. But in the beginning, I just had to, find myself and really just, be a good teammate. And I did. And then once, everything just started clicking. And then, the rest was history. Went on that big win streak and all of that. So I was just really in charge of, keeping us, in the game at all times. But 7th, 8th inning comes around and I had to be ready to, get going. So that was where I was. And I ended, I had a really good end of the year. And, I couldn't have been happier how it ended. So that was kind of how it went.
Yeah, from a coach's perspective, I would say mid-September last year, Zach and I were not best friends probably, but because Zach's a guy who was misunderstood. From the outside looking in, it was easy to think that a lot of his focus was just on what do I need to do to get onto pro ball. As you got to know Zach, it was clear that wasn't the case, but it probably your biggest challenge, Zach, was the pitcher you were in practice wasn't the pitcher you were on game day. And that was the big thing Zach had to adjust to, is let's get the performance to match the ability. And to his credit, even though we got off to a rocky start, he worked his tail off for us. He tried to do the things we asked him to do. We figured out what could make him successful, and it just started to click for him. He started the year in the rotation for us and had a couple of good outings, had a couple of not so good outings. But if you haven't figured out on this call, Zach profiles as a relief pitcher because he's pretty goofy. But as the year went on, two great stories with Zach. Number one, he was one of our biggest prospects, obviously, last year, ended up in professional baseball, but we're at the conference tournament and we needed 3 wins to advance to the regionals. And we win the first 2 games. And as I recall, the last game we were up by a fair number of runs late, and he had not pitched in the tournament to this point. There's scouts there like crazy. And I'm feeling a little bit guilty about this. Guy's a big part of our team and he's not going to pitch in this tournament. I went to Zach and I said, hey, we might not be able to get you in here. Whoever we had thrown, I think it was Grant Frazier at the time, was doing a great job. And I'm telling you, in September, I would have believed that this guy would have almost wanted to leave the dugout. And he said, coach, win the game. Let me get in the dog pile here. Really a pretty unselfless, type deal of he just wanted to win a championship and be part of that tradition that he talked about. Then we stretched that a week later, and in the opening game of the NCAA tournament, we're tied in the late innings and we're facing Miami, where we need a little different arm to get that kind of hitter out. And Zach comes in and pretty much dominates low mid 90s with command and picks up a win in a regional game against Miami, which one of the best wins in program history. And just awesome to see the progress, Zach made as a person throughout the year and as a pitcher. And now he's on to the Yankees. But couldn't be more proud of. I think when he was in September, he was saying, God, what's happening here? He had lost the pitching coach he was awfully close with. He wasn't seeing eye to eye with his head coach. And when we got to June, there's just no way we'd get where we were without him on the team, on the mound, most importantly, but in the dugout as importantly. And pretty cool story there. So I thought it was good to have him on. But obviously life's been different since last June. You go on to pro ball, Zach, and I've had the COVID stuff. Tell us about your experience with the Yankees pre-COVID and post-COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty awesome. I mean, getting drafted by the Yankees, obviously, like it was like a dream come true. And luckily, I wasn't like most people that just hated them. So like going in, I always thought they were a cool organization. So like I didn't mind it. So then, I get there and I actually signed a little bit later than like everyone else that got drafted. So I got there like about 2 weeks after because I had some family issues going on. And so the season ended and like I got drafted like the day after I got home. Like I'm getting drafted and I'm in my underwear in my apartment trying to clean out. And like I got my roommates telling me to move my couch. And I'm like, dude, like my life's gonna change soon. And like I ended up getting the call. I'm sweating my ass off. I gotta tell the movers that United Apartments, like I can't deal with this shit right now. But anyway, so then I get down there a little bit later and those guys are already going out to short season. So I was like, okay, well, like I don't know anything about pro ball. Like I've had a couple friends like before me go, but I didn't really know anything. So then they go out and basically the Yankees, like it's really strict. Like maybe it is with everyone, but it was like if you're a pitcher, like you have a week at least, you got to be down there, and then you throw a bullpen, and then you throw a sim game, and then you'll throw a real game, and then they like sent you out. And so I came back when I got there, like there was like 10 pitchers who already went through that, and they were obviously getting shipped out. So then I got stuck, and I actually had to play in like the GCL league down there, the Gulf Coast League. And for me, like it kind of sucked because if you guys know anything about pro ball, like the GCL is really just all like young Dominicans that sign. They're all 16, 17, 18. You can't even have conversations with your catcher basically. And I mean, it's just like I mean, even the coach would tell you it's really bad baseball. Like really raw. Guys will throw 95, but I mean, games are 5 hours. I mean, there's no fans. You're playing at noon in the Florida heat. Like it was. I mean, it was not ideal. But you know, I got there a little bit later, and that's kind of where I stuck. So I mean, I went out and I actually was down there for about I don't know, I would say 10, 12 weeks. And the first 3 weeks, I actually threw really well. I had 3 really good outings, and then I like tweaked my hamstring. And I'm not even sure. They said it was like a grade A tear or something. But they're so strict. They're like 6 weeks, you're out. Like 6 weeks. So then I'm just doing rehab. I'm not even throwing. Like they had me playing catch, but that was it. And then so I just rehabbed that hamstring, and I threw in like 2 more GCL games. And then our season actually we got sent home because of the hurricane that was coming in. So after I got sent home, you know, I was just getting ready for next season, whatever. And yeah, all this crap happened. Had some family issues, so not really the time to not have baseball off. But it's kind of been good because I've actually been relearning and redoing my mechanics. So I was actually going to go in my season kind of with mechanics that I know in the long run it's not going to work for me. So in this time, I've actually been able to. I went down to Florida actually, and I worked with the old pitching coach here, Coach O, and I went down there for about 9 weeks, and we just spent all 9 weeks working on my mechanics, and like we've got really far with that. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm just hoping everything plays out. But that's basically where we're at with that. They send us about workouts every day, but I don't really know anything. I know I guess I see the minor league season. I think it's going to get canceled. I saw something on Twitter today, but other than that, yeah, I've just been kind of just playing catch in the morning, then going golfing in the afternoon. So that's kind of where I've been at.
Appreciate it, Zach. We'll see if these guys have any questions for you in a minute. Xavier, I can pull you off of mute here. Xavier, like I said a couple of weeks ago, 3rd-round draft pick by the Brewers. Obviously, he has not played in professional ball yet, but kind of background on Xavier as I saw him junior to senior year when I was coaching at Northwood and had him real high on the recruiting list. And all along, I thought probably too good a player for us to land. It turns out I was right. But as fate would have it, thank God CMU jumped on him because I had a chance to coach him the last couple of years. But Xavier's a guy who he's pretty self-made, was not real heavily recruited, kind of like Zach out of high school, and ended up as one of the top prospects in the country. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about your career here, Xav?
Yeah, so similar story to Zach, kind of under recruited, kind of had a lot of interest from smaller schools, and luckily Central came through right around the end of my junior year, summer.
You'd have hated having to go to Northwood and play for me, right?
Yeah, that would have been not ideal, but it worked out anyways. So yeah, I mean, I just came to CMU looking to like kind of try to play right away any way I could. Obviously, I played a lot of positions, so that helps me a lot. Catching, playing all the infield positions, that offered the coaches an opportunity to fit me in whenever they saw a chance or opportunity. And obviously, with injuries and everything, I kind of was able to work my way in a lot of positions until I settled in at shortstop. So yeah, that was my freshman year, and then last year, obviously, we had the amazing season with the new coaching staff, which I benefited from a lot with a different hitting approach, different philosophy overall on kind of how we went about playing the game. Kind of like Zach talked about, like the energy and having a lot of fun in the dugout and really just enjoying the games. That was big for us and for me specifically too. And it kind of brought us together as a group, I would say. So that's a big part of the reason why we got hot when we did. And obviously our record and season kind of shows what kind of baseball we were playing at the time. So.
Yeah. From there, Zave, you know, you could go in the draft a couple of weeks ago. What's life been like since then?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I got drafted and then I just signed the actual contract a couple days ago. So since then, I mean, I've just been trying to get working whenever I can. I've been meeting up with some other pro guys around my area and just hitting live, catching live, ABs, throwing, working out still, just stuff like that. I'm just trying to stay ready for, you know, anything that can show up. So just trying to stay in shape and be ready to play baseball at some point, hopefully.
And you know, it's funny. I talked to you about this yesterday, Xavier, but I'm sure a lot of these guys are thinking, you know, what are these minor leaguers doing? And Zach, I don't know if this conversation's come to you at all, but Xavier, why don't you talk a little bit about what the Brewers are going to have you do to play here the next few weeks?
Yeah, so they're talking about having us join, or letting us play in the USPBL, which is the indie ball league, like right around Metro Detroit area at Jimmy John's Field. So they're talking about like having guys go there and play for like a shortened summer season, just to get some reps in and try to at least play some sort of baseball this summer. That's kind of in the air right now. Nothing's official yet, but it looks like that might be an option probably pretty soon. I'm guessing.
Did any of that come up for you, Zach?
No, it hasn't came up, but I mean, I've seen all over Twitter about that in specific.
Well, couple stories basically saying they're trying to find indie ball leagues for you guys. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I saw that, but then also, I guess there are like some AA guys that already have like reached out, and because there's like a pretty verifiable well, there's a pretty authentic like Twitter page, and they're like, yeah, you can like you could play indie ball, but if you do and like you get hurt or like anything like that, like they can cut you at any moment. So it's literally so guys are literally now that I've said or that I've read that is like, yeah, it's not even worth it. Like, but that is what I have saw that, but in specific, like the Yankees haven't told us that they wanted us to do that or if that's even an option. But yeah,
For
that's
Xavier,
why.
I'm sure he's dying to get out and play. Xavier, I don't think you missed a game for us in the last 2 years, did you?
No.
I don't think so. Now, Zach, on the other hand, a little bit more injury prone. Zach, do you want to tell these guys about your injury at Michigan State last year?
Oh man, let me tell you. You know, you think they'd be a smart school, but they do not know how to design a dugout. Like they got no, their bathroom in the dugout. I mean, they do have a bathroom in their dugout, so I'll give them that. Like that's good. Most people don't. But their bathroom in the dugout is like fit for Yoda. Like, all right, that's weird. But like literally, like not Yoda, but like actual 5 foot Yoda. So literally, like I go out and I get done going to the bathroom, and I literally just I knock my head and I give myself a concussion. So I hit my head on that. I stood up right away and I was like, yeah, I kind of feel dizzy. And the trainer was like very like pro trainer. He's like, oh, you're doing a concussion test right now. And then I was just probably like, I probably just didn't pass it because I just didn't. But so he's like, oh, you didn't pass it, so you got to sit out 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, like I feel fine. And like I think I don't know, we might have been losing, maybe not because we didn't lose too much. But there was some scenario where I was just so mad I couldn't pitch, and it was because I had a concussion. So there I am sitting in the bullpen with my shorts on, and I'm just like, all right, Zach, I got to figure something out because this cannot keep happening to me. These freak injuries. But yeah, that happened.
Yeah, the old bathroom concussion. That's what we're dealing with. Anybody have any questions for these two guys? Anything they can answer for you guys?
Anything. I'm an open book.
If you do have questions, guys, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Xavier, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Dave Pagel. Are they for sure going to have you catch? Is that where they're heading with you?
Yeah. Basically, I was told like that we're gonna try it out and just kind of see how I develop there and kind of where I'm at. But I mean, I was also told that, you know, if like my bat is ready to move up, that they're not gonna hold me back if my catching still needs development. So we're just gonna kind of try out the catching thing, and then but also keep infield versatility an option as well if, you know, injuries, whatever, just for any backup case or whatever. But yeah, definitely gonna start out at catcher at least.
Interesting.
Dave,
Okay.
you were a 3rd round draft pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
So you're just
Oh.
yeah, Dave was so you're just angling at you don't want Xavier to have passed you or tied you for the highest drafted shortstop in school history, huh?
Oh, you know, at this point, 40 years ago, for God's sakes, he can do whatever he can.
Well, 40 years ago they probably only had like 8 teams, so you were probably like the 25th pick.
Yeah, you know, it was ridiculous, but no, one of the reasons I asked you that, Xavier, was they actually halfway through my first year out in the New York Penn League, they came to me and turned me into a catcher. So
really?
I played shortstop all through high school, all through my career at Central, and then about halfway through my first year out in the New York Penn League, they came to me and said, if you want to go to the big leagues, you go as a catcher. Because I was like a 6'8", 6'8", 560. And they weren't real impressed with that as a shortstop. But I had a plus arm. So they put me behind the plate. And unfortunately, the very first night, I threw the top base stealer out 3 times. And pretty much got stuck back there for about the next year. But my biggest problem back there was size. I was only, I mean, I was 5'9", 175, and I couldn't keep weight on going through the seasons, and it started affecting me offensively.
Okay.
Not to mention the fact I got my brains beat in behind the plate because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing back there.
No, now that you have Xavier excited about catching, Dave, let's
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling he's a little bit bigger and he has a little bit more experience back there than what I had. It was
he did a good job for us this spring. So
interesting to begin your catching career in your first year in the minor leagues where guys are throwing, mid 90s and are lucky to hit the backstop, and you're back there trying to defend yourself against some interesting arms. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah.
good. Garrett, what more you want us to move towards and chat on a little bit?
Well, I had a question for you, Jordan.
Yeah.
What's I mean, coming from smaller schools, NAIA schools, Division II, what surprised you most about this program early on, having the success, and then now being able to take some time to kind of do some outreach?
Yeah, on the front end, I think the biggest thing is, and I've talked about this a lot over the last 2 years, and I talk about a lot with recruits, is probably just developing understanding of the history. I mean, obviously I was pretty aware of CMU, but I didn't grow up here. And so in 4 years at Northwood, I knew it was a good program, but when you do your research on who's won the most games over the last 50 years in this part of the country, it starts to floor you a little bit. And I'm in our meeting room in the clubhouse right now and some of the history behind me, but it's just pretty incredible, some of it. So that was, I think as you learn more, pretty eye-opening. But probably the biggest adjustment from Northwood D2 to D1 is just how many things you have pull you in various directions. The baseball is really similar. I mean, we have Jake on here who's coaching at Northwood now and played here, and I coach with, I think Jake would agree, it's not like you step on the field and it's a totally different game. It's a little more talent, obviously, but a lot of similarities. But it's just a lot more, just the number of random emails you get in a day, the amount of paperwork, the different things that pull you in a lot of directions when really the most fun part of it is focus on your team, focus on those relationships. And so managing that and figuring out ways to have the same number of hours in the day, but have a lot more random stuff pop up has been, it's an adjustment. And I had kids a year before I took this job. So obviously for those of you that do that, that always is piled on work and things like that. And so that's probably the hardest part, is when you know you want to connect with alumni, when you know you want to build those relationships. And I guess you find silver linings in things with COVID. Again, some of that silver lining is doing some of these calls, connecting with people, stuff that you know it's got to be a priority, but you say, how do we find that time and make that happen? And I'm glad some of these guys I've gotten on the calls, we've had a chance to do some of these things.
So what was your perception? What did you know about Coach Collins coming in? And then was it all true?
Well, you know, you go to these ABCA conventions, and they have the Ethics and Coaching Award named after Coach Kyla. So the first thing I assumed when I saw that name was the guy had to be dead, right? I mean, they name these things over guys that are dead. So first I figured out he was alive, which was nice. Positive, but no, in all seriousness, Coach Kyle, it's just, I think anybody on here, I don't have to talk too much about him, but after the first really, really successful year we had at Northwood, I still hadn't met Coach Kalitz, and he was at a game where I was recruiting, and he went out of his way to come chat with me and just say he was impressed with what we accomplished. Hop on my phone after saying, who the heck was this old guy? But that's just Coach Kalitz in a nutshell. He's going to look for people that have done good things and go out of his way to talk to them and be generous and be but since I've been here, pretty unbelievable, the support that Coach has led this program. Everybody in this room, I think, understands that and knows that. But just saw Coach today. I was in the clubhouse working, and he was out walking his dog Zoe, and he popped in. I kind of ignored him, so I have to apologize to him because we're working on some recruiting stuff. But this guy would do anything and everything that can be done to help our program succeed. And I think Xavier and Zach, and dating back to the guys that played here before, I don't think there's a guy that would question that. I don't know that there are words, Garrett, to talk about what he means to our program. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't have the right words to say how valuable he is.
Coach Collins, I unmuted you. Is any of that stuff actually true?
Well, first of all, it's a joy to be a part of this program for 60 years. I came as a freshman in 1960, and I've never left. The program has been a major, major part of my life. And when I see guys like Xavier and Zach, who's on here today, it just makes you feel really, really good, because they're just outstanding people, great players, meant so much to our program, and how much they have brought us. It means a lot. And David Cole's on here, and Danny Cronkright, Billy Morway, just really special people. And then Dave Pago was one that we just talked with, that recruiting him was a real joy. The only downside, he's from Blissfield, and you can't get to Blissfield from Mount Pleasant. And I was driving down there once a week because everybody in the world was recruiting him. And he had a two-time All-American with us and a great career. Is Nick on the phone? Nick Krasaniak? Is Nick on?
Yep, I'm here, Coach.
Okay, and Nick and Dave played together at Blissfield, and we had, before those two, we had Ray Saw from Blissfield, who I ran down there every week to see when he was pitching. He pitched with the Cardinals after pitching with us, and when I have reunions or I see our players, I always tell them, as proud as I was of them when they played for us and winning championships for us, I'm even more proud of them today, of what they've become as fathers and husbands and community leaders and professionals and so forth. It's a program which has been a great one, and Jordan is continuing with that in every way. I can't say how proud I am of him and his staff and our present players and everything they've done. It's been really special.
Well, I think having coached you around in town and such an ambassador, not only for Central Michigan and I tell people, and I've been here for 3 months, but I tell people you're on the Mount Rushmore of Central Michigan athletics, not just baseball. And then when you talk to people in the industry about college baseball, your name is first and foremost, and you've been really good to me here in the last 3 months. So I appreciate that. I got a couple more questions as far for maybe Nick or Dan Cronkite, if you guys want to jump in on this one. You know, part of these outreach, part of these calls is for the administration and the program to do more outreach to letter winners, to engage you guys. Tell me, you know, what would you like to see? You know, do you want your own golf tournament? Do you want to come to practice? Do you want to call weekly from Jordan? Um, what sort of engagement level are you guys kind of looking for? And maybe tell us too about the relationship you've had since you've graduated, because that's the key part for Xavier, for Zach, for some of the young guys. You know, ideally we want to keep a close connection, a close tie, year in, year out. It's easy to get disconnected, geography, family, life, but you know, if you stay close to the program, it's really key. So I'll turn it over to Nick and Dan. Maybe you guys chime in and answer what you're looking for from us.
Dan, would you like to go first?
If you do, you got to unmute yourself, Dan. There you go.
Okay.
I did. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay. Well, I just noticed first that Garrett chose not to say my last name, but there's probably a good reason behind that. It's Nick Krasaniak. Happy to join this. I think one of the great things that you're doing here, Coach Bishel, is making the connection. I've been really enjoying this interaction that we're having. And what happens in life, as we all know, we leave college and then we go away and we go off into the world. And in my case, that meant lots of travel and lots of relocations across the world. And I moved back into the U.S. back in about 5 years ago. And I was fortunate enough and blessed by the fact that Coach Kylitz reached out. And as you've said before, he's not only the best ambassador that CMU has, but he's just an amazing supporter for all of us across the board. He's been incredible for me, and he got me back and involved with the program in a lot of ways. And as you said it, there's no better representative of what CMU is all about than Coach Kylitz. And I was blessed and fortunate enough to play for both Coach Kylitz and Coach Kriener, and thought the world of my experience there. And since then, the last 5 years or so, I've had a chance to speak at the commencement, give a commencement speech back in 2016. I've had a chance to interact with the School of Business, and I've become a regular speaker up there. I've got involved with the new venture program that they do. So I've had a lot of chance to do mentoring, and I even got to meet the team with Coach Bishel back in 2019 before your season started. So I really enjoy that. It's given me a lot to reconnect to, but it's very easy to get away from it. And what I really like is that you're reaching out to us now. Maybe something can continue with this, not every other 2 weeks. It won't be possible after the COVID crisis gets rid of us, and hopefully that comes soon. But I do like the fact that we do reunions, we do anniversaries. I attended one a few years ago for one of our championship teams, and it was like I had seen the guys yesterday. I mean, to get back and bring the spirit together, the connection, and it just was it was really amazing and a great experience. And so I think getting us to be able to come back for celebrations, creating some of those events, and having these maybe once or twice a year or once or twice a quarter or once a quarter, if that's a possibility, it really keeps us connected. For myself, I live in New York, so I'm a long ways away. I don't often get back, but when I do, I like to feel like I'm part of CMU again. So, Dan?
Okay, so now
We got you now.
Hey, Nick, I said we're out of time. I guess I'm done with my talk. I agree. I agree with what you say, Jordan. I think really good experience for think, Billy, you and I, after the first call, we connected that night on the phone. And so it kind of got some of the old friendships going, and Billy and I have talked multiple times since then. And Rob Herzog, who is our catcher, he's moving home now, and we've had our own, from 84 and 85 team, we've had our own call, and looking to do that again. Jordan, if nothing else, you're putting things in motion to get us back together again, and I think that's a great thing. Thanks for doing that. I agree with Nick on the anniversaries or the championship get-togethers. Those are always the golf outing. I attended the one last year with the family. That was fine too, Jordan. I don't have a burning desire one way or the other to have just our own versus more the families and alumni. I think you can do it either way, probably. So.
Okay, I'm going to put one more guy on the spot. Jake, if you can unmute yourself. So like I told you guys, Jake Sable, he's the head coach over at Northwood, but Jake actually, Jake was at Northwood before I was. He was working as a graduate assistant as a pitching coach when I got the job. And our first year, we had a lot of success. I think we had the best conference record we had in school history to that point. Jake was a part of that. So when I got the job here, I was pretty excited when Jake took over at Northwood. So Jake and I are pretty close. Jake played on the 2010 championship team. He was here for, I think you redshirted, so you were here for 8 or 9 years, right?
8.
But Jake was a big part of this program, went on to pro ball. I mean, why don't you talk a little bit, Jake? You're in a little different category because a lot of these guys played for Coach Kyle, have some of that connection, but that more recent group, I probably have not been real connected with. What do you think we can do to help you guys get back in things here?
Well, first of all, I just want to tell my Coach Kyle's story real quick. I played 2006 to 2000. I got drafted in 2011. That was my last year at CMU. And Coach Kylitz and I probably didn't have a ton of conversations while I was there as a player. I'm sure there was a few, but I was lucky enough to get the head coaching job at Alma College. That would have been in 2016, maybe my first head coaching job. And, not too long after getting that job, I received a handwritten letter from Coach Kylitz, as I'm sure plenty of you others might have gotten for something positive in your life, but a handwritten letter from Coach Kylitz just letting me know how proud he was of me and for my representation of the program and for getting a job like that. And so I thought a ton of it, and I went out of my way to thank him at the convention or whatnot. And then we go on to have a really good year that first year, and not too long into the summertime, I get another handwritten letter from Coach Kylitz explaining what a great job we did in year one and how proud he was. And so I'm thinking, wow, this guy keeps tabs on us and he really cares, even for someone who didn't play for him or wasn't around him maybe every single day. It was really important to him, the people that were in the program and what we were accomplishing. And so I felt really proud just to be a part of CMU baseball. And it's kind of funny. We talk about all these calls you guys have been having. We had a 2010 MAC championship reunion call a few weeks ago with, I think we had just about 30 guys in the coaching staff that were on the call. And just because this was our 10-year reunion, this was our 10-year, this season would have been 10 years for us. So we were hoping to get back on campus and do something. And unfortunately with COVID, we weren't able to do that, but we were able to find a unique way to get together and catch up and do that kind of thing, which I think is pretty cool. Coach Bischel, I don't know. I'm trying. I know a lot of guys who played in that era are super proud to be alums, and we came back to the golf outings often and did those kind of things. And I'm going to continue to try to pull those guys back because I know how important it is to all of us. And I think the more that if we have another call like this or whatnot, if I can try to pull one or two guys on with me here and there, and just set up a time maybe for you to connect with them or whatnot, I think that goes a long way, because these guys know that it's important, and they want to be showed that as well. So anything that we can do, I mean, I told you before, you know, whatever I can do on my end to help you out and get some of those younger guys back, guys that were kind of in that era, I want to do, you know, because we enjoy all that kind of stuff, and we are proud to be Chippewas. So, and then when I got my head coaching job here at Northwood, I got another handwritten letter in the mail from Coach Kylitz. So just the guy cares, and, you know, it means a lot to me. And, you know, he is, like you guys have all mentioned, he is an ambassador for our program in college baseball. And I'm thankful to know him to the extent that I do. So thanks, Coach.
You know what's funny, Jake? You get too close to Coach Kylitz and you lose a game to Toledo, and then you get a letter saying, if that happens again, I'm demanding your package. You haven't gotten those letters quite yet. Anything else, Garrett, you think would be good to hit on, or from the group here? Anything you guys want to chat on? Try to respect your time and not go too long, but if there's anything you guys want to talk about, ask these former players that just moved on, or I'm kind of an open book if there's anything you guys want to chat on today.
Hey, I'll chime in on one real quick thing. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I heard a couple guys mention that they're from the Detroit area. So where I grew up was only about 2 or 3 miles from Tiger Stadium. So we'll leave you in suspense with this a little bit, but maybe at a future one, Coach Kylitz can tell some of you other Detroit kids about the recruiting trip he made down to see me when I was in high school. That's it. If he remembers.
Yeah, I remember. I had a great visit with you, and your home visit with you and your mother, and it was well worth the trip, because Billy, you were a great player for us and won some championships with us. It was tough trying to find your home, because we didn't have the navigation system at that time, but once there, it worked out really great. And it's certainly one of the best recruiting trips I ever made, because we got you.
Thanks.
The other guy I do have to point out on this call, David Cole, who played for us last year, is on here. And, you know, David has probably the most famous hit by pitch in NCAA baseball history at this point. How many, 1 million Twitter views, right? Right, David?
Something like that.
What people don't realize is that was 95 in the ribs, so that was not an act. And the other thing people don't realize is David spent the whole year dodging hit by pitches like they were COVID-19, man. And that one was a heat-seeking missile. He had to wear that one for us. So one of the most important play, actually, it ended up leading to us winning, 3-run double a couple hitters later. But appreciate you being on, David. That's a beautiful face to go with the name that you saw on Twitter with that hit by pitch last year.
Really appreciate it, Coach.
Garrett, anything else, or anything else from the group?
No. This is the third. We got 2 more, or one more. This is the third out of 4, and just pass it on. You know, the other key thing is our records are adequate at best. I mean, we need you guys. You move around, email addresses change. Please submit any and all new information, contact information to us. We can update it in the overall system. We're not going to be pegging you for money too much. Otherwise, we're not really doing our job. But we need you to engage. We need more guys. I know you said, Jake, you got 30 guys on the call. You had 30 guys on the call last week, and we need to grab a few of those and get them on this last call in 2 weeks. So send them an email to Jordan, send them to me. But you know, we appreciate, you know, Coach Kylitz grabbing some guys and everybody joining. But we need more. We need more. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we each grabbed a couple guys from our era, you know, it just starts kind of growing from there.
Right.
So.
And Garrett will send out a recording of this, and if guys want to watch that, that's great too. I mean, and I'm happy to do that. I'll do this. I mean, I'll do it every other week year round if you guys actually stand my voice. Our guys can't stand me, but it's not a time thing for me. I want to connect with you guys, so let me know how I can help.
Now, I'll tell you one thing, Jordan. Here's something that you've got to keep adding numbers to, though. I found this in the archives down in my one of my baseball things. Look at all the championships and tournament wins, man. And that stopped in 94, 95. We got a lot more to add on to that thing.
No pressure, right? Don't worry. When I got the job, Coach Kylett said we had 5 years to make it to Omaha. And then when we made a regional last year, he said he changed it to 3 years. So, and now we got COVID out. So if we're not in the World Series next year, I'm looking for a job. So simple enough.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Xavier. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate you, Coach Bishel. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Take care, everyone.